Hello folks and welcome to Paddock Pass, the Austrian Grand Prix edition 2016, brought to you in association with the summery flavour of Red Bull Yellow. It's good stuff this. Yeah, we are in Red Bull country, aren't we? We are here in the Styrian Alps. It is beautiful. It's such a stunning place. We have been filming off the grid Austria all week. Normally it's off the grid city name, but we've been all over Austria, so it's just a more general Austria off the grid. We've been to Vienna, Salzburg. We arrived here in this Styria, I believe it is, yesterday, and it's just beautiful. It's absolutely wonderful. But everywhere you go is Red Bull. You go to a cafe, hello, I'd like a Coca-Cola, please. No. You can have a Red Bull Cola, though. It permeates everything. So let's start at Red Bull, I guess, is the best place to start. Confirmed this week, well, confirmed a little bit earlier this week. Daniel Ricciardo definitely back at Red Bull Racing next year, tied in, we think, until the end of 2018, and yet still rumours persist that Daniel Ricciardo will not be a Red Bull Racing driver next year. Rumours persist he will in fact be a Ferrari driver next year. Anyway, be that as it may. What's the pressure like on him this weekend at what is his team's home race? How much pressure is on you this weekend being a home race?
Personally, I'm Australian, not Austrian, so it's not my home race, but I mean, yeah, it's a team's race. I think there is a bit of pressure on us to do, I would say, better than we have in the past here. You know, it hasn't been a stronger track for us. I guess the layout hasn't been always what suits our car the most, but we do have a bit more horsepower than we did last year. I do feel the chassis is better than last year, so we should have a better result than last year, but I don't think that should be too hard to do because we weren't that quick last year. So let's see. Could rain a little bit, which might help, but I'm ready. You know, I'll do the best with what I got, and hopefully that turns into something good on Sunday.
A lot of talk coming out of Baku was about radio restrictions and the difficulties that places on you as drivers to get over a problem, not even be told what the problem is. Do they need loosening up a little bit?
I don't know. I heard a little bit of it afterwards, and as I don't know, kind of funny in a way. So, you know, it's like, sure, some of it, I mean, it is silly. Like, the thing, when you think about it, it is silly that they can't say, all right, do this. But at the same time, it's like we knew that's what it was. You know, we knew these restrictions were in. So it's I think then just a case of us either doing our homework or having better dialogue with the team and knowing if this happens, what we've got to do. So, you know, I think it's all still pretty simple. You know, we do that much stuff in the car, and we do so much multitasking, you know, on a Sunday that you know, should be doable as well.
Team has finally confirmed that you will be back for a couple of years at Red Bull Racing, unless of course Ferrari come knocking on the door. We know there's been interest. Is that something that excites you? Would you leave Red Bull to go to Ferrari if asked?
I love how we know there's been interest.
Well, who wouldn't be interested?
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know, I feel everyone else has got the phone call and not me, but no, to be honest, I'm at Red Bull, and so yeah, for next year. And you know, I said it also when probably I got asked, I think in Canada or maybe in Baku. You know, it's like, again, it was always pretty restricted, I would say, with contracts anyway. But you know, I would only, let's say, really look into something if it was going to really guarantee me a real shot at the title. And obviously Mercedes, I still feel, is the only team right now that's you know, fighting for the World Championship, and it will be Nico or Lewis this year. I'm sure of it. So, you know, you got to look at their next year, and obviously Nico and Lewis are, I believe, you know, very, very likely to stay, and I think we are the next best challengers, and hopefully that's that. You know, I don't know what Ferrari's doing, but obviously I see what Red Bull's doing, you know, when I'm at the factory and that, and obviously speak to the guys, and it does look promising moving forward. So that's that, and hopefully all the faith and goodness we have in each other pushes us towards things beyond greatness. Words I don't even have in my vocabulary will.
See, Daniel plays innocent with that whole, does everyone know I haven't got the call? And yeah, I believe didn't he admit a couple of weeks ago that Ferrari had been in touch? I think that's what happened. Pretty sure. Anyway, there's no seat at Ferrari unless Kimi Räikkönen disappears. And it's always the rumour about this time of the year, isn't it, that Kimi Räikkönen will not be in Formula One next season. For the last couple of years, we've always been asking him, do you have the motivation? Do you want to come back? And he's always said, yes, I do. And I think that motivation still exists. But will Ferrari still have the motivation to bring him back? Sergio Marchionne this week saying they need Kimi to race more like the champion that he is. You get a sense that the tide is starting to turn at Ferrari. And as the likes of Carlos Sainz get tied into a new deal at Toro Rosso, all those possible replacements seem to be tied up into future contracts. Whether that's just to bump up their price or not if Ferrari come knocking, who knows? Anyway, here's the man who will have to make way if anybody else is going to get into the Scuderia next season, Kimi Räikkönen. Hello, Kimi. On radio restrictions, if the team can't even tell you what's wrong with the car, let alone how to fix it, how difficult is that for a driver?
No, I think they can in certain things. They're allowed to say, but obviously there's rules for many things. And what happened last race is didn't affect on anything. I wanted to know one thing that I was 99% sure, but obviously it didn't change anything. But certain things are slightly funny, but it's the same for everybody. And I have no issues with it. So.
Your future's always a talking point in the paddock. Apparently Sergio Marchionne this week saying that he needed to see more of the champion, Kimi Räikkönen. Is that a fair assessment? And if so, how do you show him more of the champion?
Well, I don't know what's fair, what's not. Does it really matter? I mean, I don't expect anything else than fair deal. Either you get it or not, and you get it because they want you, or I don't need any favors or anything else. So that's how in my view it's a fair game, and that's how it should be.
Kimi Räikkönen knows that there's pretty much not a lot he can do right now. He is at the whim of his ultimate superiors. Will he be there next year? Honestly, who knows? It's looking less likely now, I think, than it has done in quite a long time. As I said, that general feeling, there's been certainly a shift in the tone of voice being used at the team in relation to the Finn. Who else might replace him? But not Nico Hülkenberg. That's what you were thinking. The man has not ever scored a Formula One podium, and his teammate continues to smash them in. Was brilliant in Baku 2 weeks ago. Could probably have finished second if he hadn't stuffed it in FP3 and needed a gearbox change. But regardless of that, came through the field, finished on the podium. Sergio Perez doing his reputation and doing his team's points haul a huge amount of good at the moment. It's now 2 podiums in 3 races for the Mexican. 2 podiums in 3 races, but with the team already saying they're looking at 2017, how long can this run continue?
I mean, saying that, we do have some upgrades coming, It's not like nothing else is going to come in the car. I think we're definitely doing good progress, and hopefully we can get some more podiums in the next races. It will be our target, and that will be really nice to have.
Do you think they'll suit the car, given the upgrades that are likely to come?
Yes, I think we're really working well. The upgrades that are coming in the right places, and that will be very important. I think Silverstone, next race coming up, will be our last big upgrade. So we really need that one to work to maintain our competitiveness throughout the year.
There's a lot of talk that you have re-signed already with Force India for next year. Can you confirm or deny that?
At the moment, cannot comment anything like that. It's not done. My future, I don't know where I will be next year.
Okay, that leaves the door open then. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about Kimi Räikkönen's future at Ferrari. You've always said that being here gives you a platform to hopefully go back to a top team. If Ferrari came calling, is it a call you'd take?
We'll see. I mean, at the moment there are just rumors, and we have 5 weeks, 4 races. So we are in a part of the calendar that requires 100% focus, and I don't want to be thinking on those things. I want my management to take care of that and try to find the best for the future to me.
There's Romain Grosjean. You've had a haircut.
I did.
You did. It's a very nice haircut. It's all right. That might shave a couple of tenths of a second off his time this weekend, and he'll need it because the Haas ain't looking as good as it was at the start of the season. One man who knows that more than most is Esteban Gutierrez. Things have not gone at all to plan for him this season. This was supposed to be the season that Esteban Gutierrez turned up at Haas and showed the world what a brilliant racing driver he was, how underrated he was at Sauber, how the results had never quite gone his way. And it just hasn't really turned around for him yet. He's thrown the team under the bus almost every weekend at the start of the season because this was going wrong, that was going wrong. Rumours abounded that the mechanics and the engineers that had the least experience at the team were then put onto his car, which just accentuated all the problems. Rumours which we believe to be true. And then for the last few races, he's just been viciously ill. But despite that, has actually been able to outperform Grosjean on a couple of occasions. He came from Ferrari to go to Haas. But one wonders if he's doing enough this season to put himself back in the frame to replace Raikkonen if indeed, and keep saying if indeed, that happens. Anyway, here is, thankfully, a much better feeling Esteban Gutierrez. Hello, how are you?
Good. Better, much better.
That is good, because you've been ill for a few weeks now. Are you feeling better? Are you feeling back to yourself?
Yeah, it hasn't been easy to recover, but yes, I'm feeling much better. Fortunately, because we have ahead 4 races in 5 weekends, which is very exciting. But yeah, in the last 3 races, I mean, I was pretty sick already from Monaco, Canada, and then obviously with so many races in between and long trips, it wasn't easy to recover quickly. So yeah, I'm happy to be here.
How positive are you feeling for these 4 races coming up?
I feel very positive. I mean, we don't have any updates here this weekend, but it's another chance. It's another opportunity to keep pushing and target the points to try to get the most that we can from our car that we have. It's a great track. I like the track. It's pretty short, fast corners, a little bit old school. So I'm here to enjoy.
Lots of questions about the man on your right-hand side, or your left-hand side, our right-hand side, whether he'll be back at Ferrari next year. Obviously, you were part of Ferrari last year. I know you have longer-term plans than to be at Haas forever. Are you in line for that seat if Kimi goes?
Well, I mean, at the moment, things are according to plan. So that's all I can say.
Is that a yes?
No.
So what's happened since we last spoke? Well, Carlos Sainz is now confirmed at Toro Rosso next year. We spoke about that a little bit just in terms of the fact that maybe teams are trying to tie people in to raise their price if other teams come calling. Talking about prices and teams and all things money, McLaren have a new sponsor. Michael Kors is a new lifestyle partner of the McLaren Formula One team. I went to the launch in London last week, and what was fascinating was the fact that very few Formula One people were there. It was all fashion types, looking all funky and cool, and I was very out of place. But that kind of told me something, was that it wasn't a launch for F1 people, it was a launch for fashion people, which I think showed the importance of the tie-up, in that it wasn't to say to Formula One folks, hey, look how cool McLaren is, we've signed Michael Kors. It was for Michael Kors to say to the fashion people, hey, look how cool we are, we've signed with Formula One. And that, I think, is a really big thing for Formula One, because it shows that the sport still, resonates. And Michael Kors are trying to do 2 things. One is they're trying to up the female brand to, be something slightly more than it is at the moment, and they're introducing a new men's line, and what better way to do that than to associate themselves with the Formula One team, who for eons was associated with Hugo Boss. So levelling up. Anyway, that's my take on the fashion world. As you can see, you probably shouldn't listen to that. Williams, Valtteri Bottas, neither Williams driver tied in for next year. What's going on there? I think we asked him that, did we? Probably. Here you go. This is a track on which Williams always traditionally seems to go well. Is this your best chance of a podium in this first half of the season?
I don't know. For sure it's one of the good ones, and we're really fast here in 2014. Also last year, even though I had some brake issues in the race, but I think here normally we're good. I like the track personally, so it is a good opportunity, definitely.
It's been resurfaced since last year. How do you think that will affect tyre degradation?
It's tricky always to predict. We have not done any laps with the new asphalt, and it seems like now, sometimes when they lay out the new asphalt, sometimes it's really slippery and it doesn't wear the tires, or it can be really grippy and it grains the tires. So we'll have to see in the practice.
Last Grand Prix in Baku brought the topic of radio to the fore, and what you are and aren't allowed to be told. Are the restrictions too tight, do you think, as a driver?
I mean, some things for sure it can feel a bit silly, but there's a reason behind it, and it is to make it more difficult for us as a drivers to. Get it off. It's gone. Spider.
It's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a reason. Even though we would like to speak more about some things and get more advice from the engineers, especially in case of problems. But that makes it more tricky, and it is same for everyone. And in the end, rules are rules, and I'm fine with it.
Your future. Where are you going to be driving next year? Obviously, lots of talk that Kimi will be out of a seat at Ferrari. If they came calling, is that a call you'd take?
Normally, I pick up every call, so yeah, why not? But yeah, no, to be honest, yeah, no idea about next year. So and nothing to inform. So we will have to wait and see.
Do you need a race-winning car next year?
Of course, I would love to be in a race-winning car. That's what every driver wants, especially me. Winning is the only target for me. But we need to see what's going to happen.
So the result of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix saw that man, Nico Rosberg, extend his championship lead. There's a wonderful ebb and flow to the Formula One World Championship this year. And we now come into one of the busiest parts of this season. From here in Austria, we go straight to Silverstone. Then we get a week off, and then it's Germany and Hungary back to back. Is it Hungary first and then Germany, or Germany then Hungary this year? Germany then. It's just as well I'm not in charge of schedules, because I'd be in the wrong place. Anyway, that ebb and flow. How important is this little period going to be? 4 races in 5 weekends as we lead into that summer break. It could be the part of the season that makes or breaks either Nico Rosberg's or Lewis Hamilton's, easy for me to say, championship season. Here's Lewis Hamilton. Lewis, we've got 4 races in the next 5 weeks. How imperative is the notion of momentum going into that summer break?
I don't know. Ask me when we get there. I honestly, for sure, I don't want to be any further behind in points when we get to the end of that break, and just hoping that my engine lasts through those races.
Talk to me about the radio restrictions. Obviously, it was very, very tough in Baku. The team compared it to us as you were given a crossword, but you weren't given any of the clues. How hard is that as a driver, knowing you have this issue, but you can't be told what that problem is?
I've not really thought about it much since the last race. I mean, it wasn't great, but it's the same for everyone. And if anything, it's more the team's, puts more emphasis on the team's job to make sure that they either brief us better for these issues, or do the right job so it doesn't become an issue.
Given that it was a team issue, given that you've had so many unreliability issues this year, are you starting to feel that it's slipping away from you through no power of your own?
Well, I'm starting on my last engine this weekend because I lost another engine in the last race. I don't know if you knew that. So for sure it feels difficult because the others still have, all the other Mercedes teams, all the other Mercedes drivers out the 8 of us all have either all 5 engines or at least 4 engines left. So it's definitely difficult, and in the fight for a championship with as little as I have, it's definitely tough, but it's not impossible.
Bernie Ecclestone going into his motorhome early on deck here in Austria. He's been in the news this week saying that they're going to tear up all the commercial agreements, and the Formula One teams are going to have more of a style of financial distribution similar to in the Premier League, where even if you're a champion or finish bottom, the difference in the amount of money you get isn't that spectacular. Christian Horner has said, don't like the sound of that. He wouldn't. He gets a huge amount of money just for turning up. Anyway, big political moves underfoot that will shape the future of this sport. How will Brexit affect Formula One? Will Brexit even happen? So many questions and many more, which we probably won't touch. It'll just be sporting, let's hope, for the weekend. Here are your times where you can catch everything as well on CNBC before the race starts. New track surface here this weekend. Max Verstappen was telling me earlier today it's much, much smoother. How will that affect people? Will it throw them off the track? It looks like it's going to rain, so it might do. Either way, we're looking forward to it. It should be a great one here in the mountains and this glorious countryside. But for now, that's your lot. See you later.